San Jose team, and not just today. I know Dave pretty well. Very athletic team. They play to an extreme, so they stretch everybody because you're so consumed with the three, and then they put it on the deck pretty well. And nobody's been able to break away from them. Yeah, for us, we can't break away from anybody. So when you get a 12, 13-point cushion, you feel pretty good. And I'm proud of these guys because I can't go down that road when we don't win a game. But their level of consistency in all these years, I don't know if I've seen that much. And when I say consistency, a team somebody else thinks we should beat, a team somebody else thinks we might not beat. An elite team, a road game, a home game. These guys struggle to get 56 off of our guys, and a few too many drives towards the tail end of the game, but I think our guards were very much aware we can't let them drop threes. And then the octopus took over those last few minutes. He had a lot of block shots. Two comments that jump at me right away. Different guys at different times. First half, Trey and Junior come in, really give us a lift. And second half, Sobey and Adams. Adams 7 assists, 1 turnover. He's been struggling with his assist-turnover ratio. And in Graybo's case, I'm so happy he missed some shots and this stuff about number 1 or number 3 in the country. And now hopefully he can go down to Air Force, just play ball. So those are good signs. Not having just a go-to guy and different guys at different times helps build this team better.
This is maybe, you've alluded to that, a different guy on a different night, but, like you mentioned, Trey's time in the first half. I know Jerron had a big stretch of 6 straight points, and you mentioned Nance. I mean, this is maybe the most consistent effort you've gotten from a lot of different guys, so far this season.
I would agree, 14 for 15. No one notices free throws until you miss them, and they're front page stories. 14 for 15, that separates you. And their team misses 7, 2 front ends. They go 15 for 16, maybe a different outcome. So a lot of good things. 2-2, better feeling than 0-2. But again, who would have thought going down to Air Force next week, 10 days ago, they're going to go into Rebel Country, win, and take Utah State at home. So not a pleasant thought at this time, but hopefully these guys can enjoy this until tomorrow.
Coach, just how effective, you mentioned Nance, how effective was he able to be on the defensive end with rebounds, block shots, just kind of doing it all for you guys in the post there?
Especially down the road in that game, end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, we're settled into, I think, a 7 or 8 point lead, and we're choking up on some shooters, a little further than we normally guard. So they're going to put it on the deck and drive, which was good coaching. And he came up big with some, I think he had a charge early in the game, but then he had at least 3 or 4 blocks in the second half. That affected the game. So hopefully guys are getting better, our team's getting better. I always am concerned and worried about the Bens and the Haldersons and the Sellers because I want them to be part of it, but we just haven't been able to stretch it enough for us to get them in. Their time's going to come.
Larry, you obviously were worried about their threes, and they didn't shoot a very good percentage, but were you pleased with the defense on your end, or do you think maybe they missed some open looks that maybe they normally make, or how would you kind of assess that?
Well, I usually don't act very pleased when the game's going on, but I knew that we're going to get driven because we were 3, 4, sometimes even 5 steps further on the floor. This is a team, as I said, that plays to an extreme. They're going to keep 4 deep 3-point shooters in the game at all times. So we made that choice, and then I knew it would annoy me because they'd get a few more drives to the basket. But, like I said, Nance covered up some pretty easy looks toward the tail end of the game. And I think the stats are a little deceiving. It says 12 offensive rebounds. I'm willing to bet 5 or 6 came in the last 2 minutes when the game was more or less out of hand.
Talked a lot about, Rashad Muhammad, kid you knew well. He only had 2 points, and those were a couple of free throws. What were you able to do to really shut him down and shut him down tonight.
Oh, I thought our assistant coaches did a great job of really ABCing it for our team and making sure they knew numero uno, open floor transition threes, these two guys. So again, we puffed up a little earlier, but our guys were on edge even when we put subs in. And then ball screen defense, making sure that the shooters were not coming off of those open. And then lastly, defensive rebounds. And again, I think that's skewed. I want to go back. I want to look at the first 38 minutes because I got a feeling they only had about 6 offensive rebounds.
Coach, you mentioned you guys don't focus on steals, but how good was your man-to-man in the first half where you're able to get into some passing lanes and get some turnovers and convert them to the other end?
Yeah, I thought that any time we can score quickly, it's a good thing for us. And we were able to outscore them, I think, 14-0 on the break, largely because of some deflections and some passing lane steals. That's usually not our MO, but the 56 is a good thing. It's a consistent thing. You could look at the best teams we've played, anybody you want to look at, that's a common denominator. And I like that for this team because I think there's a limit to how effective we could be if we focus on offense only.